What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Figure It Out of the Basement's Black Series Talk Show. I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
What's up, guys?
And today we've got some brand new Black Series and Vintage Collection news for you all today. Earlier in the week was our very first Star Wars Fanstream of the year from Hasbro.
Yeah.
So we got to see some new TVC figures and a couple Black Series figures as well. Not too many reveals, but they did mention that they are going to do more live streams this year. So it seems like maybe they're just, breaking it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think they teased next month as well.
Right. They said something about February.
They probably saw all those leaks and were like, yo, let's try to get ahead of some of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not going to work, but I appreciate the effort.
And it'll be good for us content creators out there because we'll have a little something to nibble on every month.
Very true. Before we jump into these reveals, obviously hit like, subscribe if you're new. We're always talking about the Black Series here on the channel. But I want to do a special little announcement about this Sunday's Lazy Sunday live stream, which we do every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time. We actually have some mild collaboration going on with Hasbro. We were requested a certain topic to talk about, and I said, heck, let's make a whole stream out of it. So Nate, me, you, Fig Fairy, we're going to be talking about what Black Series does at its best, what they can improve on, and what direction we would like to see the line move in the years to come.
Whew.
Kind of a state of the Black Series type thing.
Yeah.
And this has been our first time we've ever actually been reached out to, so that's cool. And they really do value live chat, community engagement, comment sections. So if you want to let your voice be heard, definitely check out this Sunday's Lazy Sunday live stream and participate heavily in the chat. It's going to be a good one.
We hope to see you there. Now, Justin, let me start everything off here with some vintage collection reveals. We're just going to rifle through these.
Yeah, the TVC minute.
Yep, just real quick, but let's start out with the B1 Battle Droid 4-pack. This is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. We've got one Commander, 3 regulars. Justin, they know the Commander droid exists.
They do, so I'm a little jealous of that. However, there is some controversy with the set because it is 13-year-old reuse on this B1. I think the sculpt is from 2012. This is a slight retool. They have new legs, but it's like they only solved half the problem because the TVC Battle Droid cannot hold the blaster with both hands.
Great.
Inexcusable.
Yeah.
I know I'm not in TVC at all, but I am in a TVC Discord server, oddly enough. I like to just lurk in some online spaces and just see what's going on. And I went in there and I was like, guys, I need like some expert help because I don't want us to just yap. So yeah, the B1s can't hold their blasters. You have to actually bend the plastic.
Good. That sounds good.
Yeah, so kind of an L, actually, on this one.
Next up, we have a new Mandalorian Super Commando. This one is based off of the Ahsoka appearance, so it's not quite the same as the one that was released last year. That was the Captain. So this one is slightly different. It is a kit bash of the other 2 Mandalorians, and it has new paints and some fun weapons.
Yeah, subtle retool, I guess.
Yeah. It's good to get it back out there. It looks different, so it'll be good for if you want a different Mandalorian look for the shelf.
Would you be in on this?
No, I wouldn't get something like this. Not TVC. Black Series, absolutely. But
yeah, honestly, balance the scales. Let's get us in TBS, please.
yeah. They're also single packing the most recent Clone Trooper mold with the 501st paint scheme, throwing it in an Obi-Wan Kenobi box just for the sake of there's a cool picture of the 501st Trooper in Obi-Wan Kenobi, but this is a repack from that multi-pack. So this is the newest vintage collection clone mold. So good to get it out there. Doesn't really matter what's on the box because this is just an army builder, so you should be opening it. Last but certainly not least, vintage collection fans, you're getting some new media. We got Balin's Skull and Shin Hati coming to the Vintage Collection without their cloaks. Justin, is Vintage Collection going to get mercenaried and arcana'd?
Right. Because they're very excited, and deservedly so. They've been seemingly begging for these two characters for a long time. Mm-hmm. The likeness on both are better than the Black Series. The heights are better than the Black Series. The sabers are better than the Black Series. Pretty much everything is better about the Black Series until you get to the cloaks. There is no cloaks. Just like us, we had no cloaks at first. A few months later, here's the cloak as a Walmart and Target exclusive. Yep. So I don't know if that's going to happen to them. I'm not educated. I don't know the trends with TVC releases and habits. So hard to say. Mm-hmm. But they are much better items than the Black Series versions, for sure.
Without a doubt. And see, this is what happens when you don't rush the figures. You actually get a good product.
Yeah, since I'm kind of like a sheep in a den of wolves in that TVC server, I did sprinkle in a little like, see, this is why you guys have to chill out when you don't immediately get a new media figure, because guess what? You guys got a more accurate Paz Vizsla. You guys are getting more accurate Balin and Shins.
Yep.
Some of the worst Black Series figures in recent memory. So, chill. Now let's get into the Black Series, the good old OOTB bread and butter, Nate. I pretty much called this, although it was common sense. It's not like I'm Lisan Al-Gaib or anything like that. We got Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka, the flashback that has to do with his Clone Wars appearance.
And so it's pretty obvious by the promo pictures that you're showing on screen right now. Yes, that is the dreaded old 2013 legs.
The leaks were true.
Yep. The figure from the neck down is just that Clone Wars Anakin figure that we got a few years ago. So it's got some old outdated arms, it's got some horrible wrists, it's got some wonky proportions,
the legs,
but now it's got a slightly more Hayden Christensen looking head. It's not perfect and it's not even really all that close, but it is better.
It is better. And they also opted, and this was highly speculated due to the leaks, how some things were placed differently. It does have the soft goods for the tunic. So let's talk about the head first. I do agree with you that it's better. I'm not 100% like, oh yeah, that's Hayden, as if he was the Clone Wars CGI model or whatever.
Right.
But at least it's not the weird like Tom Holland, Matt Lanter, Hayden, like all these different people put together that the Target exclusive one was. But yeah, it's still not 100% Hayden, but it is much better.
Yeah. I also kind of feel like the soft goods are a little bit of a downgrade from the original figure.
Yeah.
The original figure had a plastic tunic running through. It did have some soft goods there, but it was mostly plastic. And I feel like when you compare the two side by side, like look at on the soft goods version, the V shape.
Yes.
It's like super high up when it should be almost all the way down to the belt. Like the V should make its way all the way down.
Right. I have a great comparison pic, complete with red circles and all, of the Ahsoka character model, the Clone Wars character model, the Target exclusive Clone Wars Anakin with the sculpted plastic, and then the new one here, and how the soft goods just covers everything. But the sculpted plastic one has the nice V-shaped design.
Yeah.
So Landspeeder Luke, we got to give you that W this time around. The hard plastic is probably overall preferred this time around. I've also seen the criticism that it's not going to match the Clone Wars Obi-Wan. How do you feel about that criticism?
I feel like something like that doesn't really matter to me when it comes to like, one has soft goods, one has hard goods, because I feel like the entire line flip-flops all the time.
That's fair.
So it's kind of something that I'm used to. And also, if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to get this figure and I'm going to swap the head onto the old body because I think the plastic look of the tunic looks much better.
Right. And then the last thing about this figure really to talk about is the legs. It's 2013 sculpt work from that original Anakin. They reused those legs on the Target exclusive Clone Wars Anakin, and now this one. Those legs are horrible. They're gummy. They're bendy. They warp easily. They're chunky. They're pinned, etc., etc. They're just not good, and I would consider this inexcusable. I think 2025 Hasbro, we need to be going that extra mile. You know, I know you're showing all this love to prequel era stuff, but I just don't like the inconsistency when we have something like Ki-Adi Mundi, which is like the best Jedi figure they've ever done.
Yeah.
But now we're still, you know, over on Anakin, arguably, you know, the main character of the prequel trilogy, and some say the overall saga. We're reusing the legs.
Right.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah. And it is weird because typically they do go all out for new media figures. You know,
that was the hope too, yeah.
Typically have the budget to produce entirely new figures from the ground up. So we all had a little glimmer of hope, but it was pretty much immediately crushed when the figure leaked. And now, obviously, our worst fears were confirmed today. Still, though, I will say it is nice to at least get this version of Anakin back out there.
It was super difficult to find.
It was super difficult to find, fairly expensive on the aftermarket. This one does appear to be an upgrade, at least in terms of the head. So I will say overall, it still is a W release because a lot of people want this version of Anakin, and they're finally going to be able to get it because it's also a mainline release too.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, $25. It'll be available everywhere. Super easy to get. I think I ultimately agree because, again, this figure was super hard to get when it was a Target exclusive. I feel like for people who have been in the line for a long time like you and I, we're looking for a bit more. I mean, literally, like, you're going to head swap this figure onto the old one.
Right.
I feel like we need to progress and not regress.
Yeah.
Take notes, Hasbro. Let's go. Captain Rex, Nate. Let's jump in.
Yeah, we've got Phase 1 Rex finally revealed as well. And I think most of us were on the same page and thinking that this figure was maybe not going to look so great. But in a bizarre twist of fate, I think he actually looks pretty solid.
It does look better than I was expecting.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting a little bit of a nightmare figure, especially seeing the comma at first, then seeing the pauldron. I was just kind of like getting a bad vibe, like, oh no, this is going to be another weird clone trooper figure where it's going to be like a mix of parts and it's not going to work out good. But from everything that we've seen from today, I think they nailed it.
Right. It is on the 2023 Clone Trooper sculpt, which, hey, we've been at risk of not getting certain clones on that 2023 sculpt in 2025. So, I mean, hey, I'll give credit where it's due. It's on that 2023 sculpt. The Ahsoka series does have some really, really odd-looking Clone Troopers, especially compared to the flashbacks in The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. They looked so good in those flashbacks, and then in Ahsoka, they just looked so bad in comparison. Really wonky proportions. Things were like super bulky, like the Phase 2 look of Rex with the massive,
where like the ammo pouch is like the entire size of his torso.
So in that way, I was just a little worried about the aesthetics of this figure, but it does generally just look like Phase 1 Captain Rex.
Well, yeah, because we also have to, keep in mind that Hasbro was always going to put this on a pre-existing Clone Trooper body. Mm-hmm. So we at least had the advantage of we knew they weren't going to. That's a good point. We knew they weren't going to go all out and sculpt weird, wonky Ahsoka proportions like we saw with like the Hot Toys release or something where it is that super accurate, like chunky armor look, but thankfully, it's on the 2023 body. It's a Phase 1 helmet, too, so we know he's not going to be a chinner.
True.
Which is very exciting. We love that. And with that, of course, the helmet is a new sculpt as well. It's not reuse from the Fordo figure. And also, the unmasked head underneath has to be a new sculpt as well too, because they have not done the shaved head clone trooper head for the 2023 buck.
Right, that head that is used on the 2023 clones that has a removable helmet. It's like that version of the head, like that likeness.
Yeah.
But with the buzz cut and the bleach blonde hair, of course. Mm-hmm. Because I think number 59 looks better. Red and black box Rex. I still think that's the best, like, Tem likeness. Mm-hmm. And I think that number 59 does look different. The photoreal, the head sculpt on that one does look different. And if you really look closely, it looks like they're going off the likeness of, like, the new 2023 removable helmet clone head and face.
Yeah. It has to be a different sculpt because the neck pegs are totally different.
Well, yeah.
So
of course, yeah. It's on that 2023 buck. How do you feel about the plastic commas?
I generally don't like the plastic commas, especially on the ARC Troopers. However, there are a few promo pictures that they released of this Captain Rex where it seems like his legs are going to be able to spread out fine.
Right. I think it's like Rex's design helps in this case.
Yeah, because I feel like a few of the other clones that we've got with the plastic comma, it's killed the leg movement. You know, you haven't been able to really like spread the legs and get like a nice firing pose or anything like that. So that was my initial concern, but there, like I said, there's one promo picture specifically where his legs are spread pretty far apart, and I was like, okay, I'll be fine with the plastic comma as long as the articulation is not severely hindered. Because at the end of the day, he's a clone trooper. I want to be able to have him running, blasting.
Of course, yeah.
And shooting, different shooting poses. You know, that's what you want out of a clone.
Yeah, at first I didn't like it, but I think I've come around to it. It doesn't bother me as much. Now, last thing about Rex, how do you feel about the super clean, stark white, no weathering?
After just quickly fact-checking in the Discord, Justin, the blue paint is solid on Captain Rex. Therefore,
no chipping.
I am 100% okay with the figure being clean because that's my logic behind it. If the blue paint was chipped, I would want weathering. However, the blue paint's clean, so him being totally immaculate in my headcanon, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Overall, I'm not quite convinced on either 100%. I'm not 100% sold on Anakin. I think Rex is more of a definite pickup for me because I would just like to have a Phase 1 Rex for the Clone Wars shelf. I feel like a lot of other people will as well.
This is going in the Clone Wars display.
Right. So I'm kind of half and half. I'm not 100% sold on the Anakin. I'll most likely pick up the Rex. As a fan stream, I saw a lot of like, that's it.
Of course.
I kind of knew this was going to be the case. And I just feel like I do agree with the people who are like, this could have just been a social media drop. Like for this, I think the very nature of calling something a fan stream and doing like this big fanfare around the live streams, I think all it does is hype the community up. So they're setting all these like unrealistic expectations, and then with no failure every time, it leads to disappointment. So I almost just make a tweet, Instagram post, Facebook, and then do those little mini videos that Eric he sometimes does.
Yeah, or even if they
for YouTube.
Even if they just had someone with a little bit more of like an ear to the ground like the Marvel team does, where like some members of the team will like tweet out before a stream like, hey, just to set expectations, like it's going to be like XYZ tomorrow and not like this, you know? So like they kind of like have the ability to set the community's expectations, whereas obviously everyone on the Star Wars teams they're phantoms on social media.
Right.
Like a few of them have accounts, of course, but they don't do any like posting for like you know, the Star Wars team in a way. So
right.
I get that, but also at the same time, just we do have to keep in mind that they do consider like Vintage Collection and Black Series to be basically one and the same on these streams. So it's like, while there was only 2 Black Series items revealed, there was, you know, obviously 8 items in total shown
I
off.
suppose.
You know, and because like Marvel doesn't have that problem because there's no 3 3/4 inch Marvel line. G.I. Joe doesn't have that problem. There's no, well, there are, but there's not the main focus. There's not a 3 3/4 inch line. So
they don't have like an adult-oriented, like highly articulated, highly detailed.
So it's like unfortunate that like Star Wars is in a unique position where unfortunately 2 scales have to like share the spotlight, whereas all the other brands just get to have their one line.
I guess, yeah.
I don't like it, but
right. I mean, we don't necessarily care how these things get revealed. Just give me the figures, but we're not babies.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think like of all the people who are like, yeah, like I'm gonna watch this stream and get super excited. Mm-hmm. So I just think overall for the community, they need to look at the nature in which they are revealing these things as far as like community hype, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You also got to keep in mind, you know, as action figure collectors, we love to be disappointed and we love to rage. You know, that's just kind of part of it. So I feel like it's always going to happen, especially with Star Wars. And
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
But these pre-orders did go up on Wednesday. Their main line, they already went up. Except for that B1 pack, that's a Pulse exclusive. Everything else, main line. So just buy what you want, pass on what you don't, and hit subscribe to Out of the Basement.
And that's all we have for you on this week's episode of Figure It Out. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. If you are in a position to help support us directly, we do also offer a couple different channel membership tiers, as well as a brand new merch collection.
Whoa!
You should check that out. There's like a little bar thing down there where we got a mug and a new shirt and a pint glass. Check those out. Best way to support the channel there. But of course, if you can't support us directly, no problem there. Simply watching, liking, commenting, all that good stuff. More than enough for us. More than enough. I'm Nate. I've been joined with Justin.
See you guys later.
And we will see you all next time on Out of the Basement.